Hi everybody, just wanted to give the summer 2022 food forest update here at Tremmy Kitty Ranch. For those unfamiliar, you can go watch last year's video, or if you want a reminder of what it looked like a year ago. We planted the first things in this food forest about 2.5 years ago in November, December 2019. Other than the mesquites, they've been here longer. And so here's our progress. This spring, we really worked on filling out some of the smaller plants here, like in the front entry, which is really exciting. I've been really enjoying that. These are all artichokes here along the edge, and then those are our Snow Queen hibiscus that have been in the ground for a bit over a year. And then these are cannas that we planted from bulbs this year. They all came up and they're all doing really good. And then over here along the edge of the driveway, we've got some lemongrass. That's our Royal Point sienna tree. We built a huge frost protection structure over it this winter to protect it, and it paid off because it did really well. This is one of our 2 avocado trees that we just planted this spring. This is the Hall avocado, I think. Yeah, that's the Hall avocado. It's got its shade there from what was formerly a horse shade structure. This was also like a horse gravel area that we kind of lowered down, and the grass is starting to fill in now this year in this area that used to be gravel. These are Arabian jasmine. This is our loquat. It's been in the ground for less than a year. I'm trying to remember when we planted it. It might have been towards the beginning of this year, or maybe I think it might have been in the fall that we planted it. Then over here we've got our other avocado. This is an Arizona Aravaipa avocado. It's been a hot day today, so it's looking a little bit droopy, but it's doing just fine. Then we've got a few tropical birds of paradise over here just for some decoration. It's bean season on the mesquites. I don't know if you saw the beans falling. It's what we call bean apocalypse right now. This is our hedge of Barbados cherries that we're really excited about this year. We spent a lot of effort this winter cold protecting them as well. We had a harsh lesson learned the year before that we didn't protect them adequately, and they're all doing really good. They were all really loaded with fruit, and we were getting inundated with it, and then they just kind of suddenly stopped. They do have some flowers, so I don't know if they're gonna have a second wave, but excuse me, they really love the heat, so they're really exploding right now, just growing to be larger, and eventually they'll be like a hedge that's the full height of this fence. Over this way, this is our little Adamoya tree that we just planted. We're gonna put some shade up for it because I think the summer is gonna be a little bit too much for it. This is our eucalyptus, which was a tiny baby of a tree. We planted it 2 years ago. It's really our champion tree. This is a neem tree. It's doing really well this spring. I'm really excited for that. These are a few of our moringas. A lesson learned on the moringas. I had seen that a lot of people chopped them down in the winter, and I was like, oh, I don't know why you would do that. But the thing is they don't do that well in the cold. Their cores kind of survive, their roots survive, but the tops are all kind of dead. They're coming back there's partial life to them up there, but not really that much. So I think in the future we'll definitely chop them, and I don't want to come over here and prune these. But anyway, they're doing good. We've been inundated with vegetables in our garden, so we haven't come out here and picked these beans. But if you pick them when they're smaller than this, you can eat them, cook them and eat them like green beans. Here's our citrus row that's doing really good. All of these are loaded with fruit. We've got 12 different varieties of citrus here. They're all doing really nice. This is our tamarind tree, also doing really well this spring. These are sweet almond bushes. They just smell super, super fragrant. They were really, really tiny little bushes at the beginning of last year, and they've really exploded, which is exciting. Coming over this way, there's more of our citrus. There's a fig there. This is a pygmy date palm. The pygmy date palms, we've been trying to kind of figure out what they like, because they kind of have been suffering a little bit, but it's doing all right. There's one of our figs. This is one of our Indian green jujubes. We gave it a pretty extreme haircut. Oh my gosh, I just found out that a branch broke on that jujube. Well, that's an interesting development. But anyway, we gave the jujube a big haircut this winter, and I was I was a little concerned we might have trimmed off too much, but it's doing really well. And apparently it just gave itself a haircut, so that's sad. To come fix that. And then underneath the jujube, or around the jujube, we've planted a few star cherries this spring. We've got these staged here. We're gonna put up some shade protection for them too this weekend, because the sun's a little bit too much for them at this age. But then moving on, these are our Asian pears. Actually, we got 3 Asian pears and 1 regular pear. I'm trying to remember what variety it was, but they're all doing really well. This third one here is the regular pear. And they're all coming along. Back over there, we have another fig, and then these are some vetiver grass that we just planted this spring, and then this is our all-in-one almond tree. Over here, we've got 3 apricot trees in a row, 3 different varieties of apricot. And they're coming along nicely. This is our dwarf ever-bearing mulberry, which was just like absolutely loaded with fruit this spring. I mean, like the branches were sagging and practically touching the ground, and it was just covered in fruit. And now we were getting like pounds and pounds every single day for weeks. But now it's pretty much over. Like you see, there's a few fruits on here, but not that many, and they're not even ripe. Whenever they're ripe, they're like almost black. But it's also just going through this huge growth spurt now that it's done fruiting for the year, so that's really exciting. Over behind me here is all of our bamboo that's doing really well. We planted them like every other one 2 years ago. We planted these in March of 2020, and they were smaller than this guy, like half the size of this guy. These were in March 2020, and we planted them, and then now and it was kind of a money thing, we kind of just did every other one to kind of spread them out some, but now we've come in and filled them in with smaller ones in the middle, so eventually we'll just have a solid hedge of bamboo there. This is the one apricot that we let grow a few fruit this year. I'm trying to spot them here. Oh, look. We got a few. So they're kind of growing. They're pretty small still, but we're excited to kind of try some of those. And then over this way is one of our figs that's just absolutely loaded with figs right now. Actually, I think the branch is just like leaning into the apricot because it's so heavy with figs. So we're really excited for those to get ripe. And then this is our Florida Prince peach. It's been in the ground for about 1.5 years. I think we planted it in January of 2021 as a bare root, and we let it grow like a few fruit this year. Like it might have had like a dozen, and they were so good. They were so juicy and so sweet, but they're all gone now. They came ripe fairly early, because if I turn around over here to our tropic snow peach, one of our tropic snow peaches, it's absolutely loaded with fruit, and I thinned them out by like more than 50%, and it's still this much fruit. We've got the branches propped up with some wood to keep them from breaking, but they're on the verge of being ripe. None of them have been ripe yet, but they're really close. And this tree in general has just completely exploded this year. We've actually got 2 in this shape, this one and this one over here. We planted them at the same time originally, and then this one died. I think that we might have smothered it with like some fresh mulch. I don't know. It was first year struggles for sure. So we planted its successor a year later. And so this one's only been in the ground 1 year less than this one. And they were about the same size when we planted them. And that's how much it grew, which is crazy. These are some vetiver grass that we planted this spring, and they've just exploded this spring. This is a Java plum, jamun. This is sweet potato growing around the base of this, just as some nice, pretty ground cover. Coming back over here, this is where we've got our apples and our plums. And then we've got just kind of some filler stuff. We've got some purple rudelias, which I think it might be getting a little bit hot for them. They dropped their flowers, but we'll give them some water tomorrow and they'll feel better. We've got purple fountain grass. So This is the first year we've had apples. Here's one of them. I know we kind of mixed up which one I think is. I think this is an Anna apple. These are all doing really good. This one doesn't have any apples this year. It's been in the ground less time. And then this one, I think this is a Golden Dorset, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mixing them up. This one we planted as a Costco bare root in January of 2020, I think. February 2020. It's doing really good. And then this is our fourth apple here, which is a Pink Lady. And then we've got some like oregano growing around here around the base of this plum. This is one of our 2 plums. It's doing really nice. And the second plum's right there. And then over this way, this is our second neem tree, taking on a lot different of a form. It's a lot taller and less bushy than the other one, which is interesting. This is one of our Hong Kong orchids. It bloomed this spring, really, really pretty pink flowers, but its blooming time is over, but it's put a lot of new leaves and growth. That's our other Hong Kong orchid there. And eucalyptus over there that's putting on a lot of nice new growth this year. And then over in this shape, we've got pomegranates. A couple of our pomegranates have been struggling, which is funny because this one is just killing it. It's like, I think it's falling over right now because it's so weighed down with pomegranates. We got to give it some support here, I'm seeing. This is our cottonwood. But then the other 2 pomegranates have kind of had some struggles. This one's coming back from the ground now, which is exciting. And that one over here is too, but it's a mystery to me why one of them has done really, really well and one has really not. But that's life, I guess. Next season, like next spring, we're going to plant bananas right here. They'll be shaded by the cottonwood and then hopefully also the eucalyptus. So we're really hoping for a lot of growth from these guys, which this guy's already exploded this season. This cottonwood has, which is nice. That's eucalyptus, as I mentioned. And then over here, this is our carob tree, which is also exploding this spring. It's another sweet almond bush there. And then we've got dwarf bonanza peaches here, which have really just filled out this year. We bought these at Costco in like January of 2021, I think. This is a nectarine that we just planted this spring, and we're going to kind of fill in a couple more nectarines. This nectarine never kind of woke up from the winter, and we've got other space over there. We're going to plant a nectarine. And then these are our other moringas. We planted both this big moringa here and this guy we planted from seed last year. We put them in the ground in like March of 2021. This one's done really well. This one did not, but it is coming back from the ground. We've got our theories about why it didn't do well like this one, but who knows why. But it's making a comeback. And then finally, last but not least, over here we have our mulberries. This is our Pakistan mulberry right here. It did really well with fruit this year. Like I was saying with the dwarf everbearing mulberry, we were just getting pounds and pounds of fruit off of it every single day for weeks. We were having to come out here and pick them. But I think they're pretty much all gone now, but the tree is doing really well. So we're hoping it'll grow nice and big and tall and strong this spring. And it's got some sweet potatoes starting there around the base too. These are more vetiver grasses here. They're starting to fill in. This is our Black Beauty mulberry. It's been a bit of a slower grower. Like it was way, way slower to wake up than the others. Like it was just starting to get leaves whenever this one was already loaded with fruit. So it's a little bit of a slower starter, but that's okay. It's turning into a really pretty tree. And then this is our Persian mulberry here. It's doing really nice. And this is our Shangri-La mulberry, which we need to get it some supports this weekend because it's got this big trunk, but it can't support it. So we're going to install some big supports on that to hold it up. And then finally, this is our other Indian green jujube. And again, it had like 10 different trunks it was trying to grow. So we gave it a pretty severe haircut this winter, and I was feeling a little bad. I was worried that we might have cut too much, but it's really thriving this spring. So anyway, that is the 2020. Oh, cannot forget sugarcane. There's our sugarcane. We planted it last February or March, and it was like half the size of one of these little grasses. This is lemongrass here. It was like half the size of one of these, and now it's absolutely huge. All this green is new growth from this season. It didn't continue on the stalks that it had from last year, which was a lesson learned. Should have picked those. I thought it was going to just kind of keep growing. But anyway, say hi, Seamus. There you have it. Tremmy Kitty Ranch Food Forest Tour 2022. Bye, everybody.